So in the end, he obviously didn't kill himself, just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up! I know he's your friend, but I don't care. You had to make your own way here in your own plane, didn't you?
3 jokes, 1 room, 1 night, and somewhere in that audience, surrounded by chandeliers and champagne and decades of carefully managed reputations, people stopped laughing. You've seen the clips, you've seen the memes, but here's what nobody is connecting. The man didn't just make jokes, he made a list. And right now, in 2026, as millions of Epstein documents flood the internet, as Hollywood's biggest names go dark, as properties get sold at a loss, as passports get stamped in countries with no extradition treaties, that list is starting to look like a prophecy. Tonight, we go name by name: Tom Hanks, Leonardo DiCaprio, Oprah Winfrey, Jay-Z, Ellen DeGeneres, Richard Gere, and Ricky Gervais, the man who stood in the most powerful room in the world and told all of them exactly what was coming. Let's go. Picture January 2020, the Beverly Hilton, mosh the Golden Globes. Every A-lister in Hollywood packed into one room. Tuxedos, gowns, carefully rehearsed speeches, and then Ricky Gervais walks out. Now, if you've only ever seen the clips, you might think you understand what happened. You don't, not fully, because what Ricky did that night wasn't stand-up comedy. It was psychological warfare, and he delivered it with a smile so calm it was almost insulting. He opened by reminding the room that he didn't care about any of them. He told them to take their awards, thank their agents, and leave because nobody watching at home wanted to hear a speech. He told them the Hollywood Foreign Press Association was racist. He told them Apple made their products in sweatshops. He told them a presenter had survived working for Harvey Weinstein, one shot after another. The kind of shots nobody throws in that room. The kind of shots that go unsaid because in Hollywood, silence is currency. And then came the Epstein line. He built it slowly. He talked about his show Afterlife, a series about a man so broken by grief he wants to die. He built the setup. He leaned into the silence. And then he dropped it. In the end, he obviously didn't kill himself, just like Jeffrey Epstein. The room went quiet in a way that rooms full of famous people almost never go quiet. And then the cameras did what cameras do: they cut away, looking for a reaction, looking for the moment that would tell the story. And they found Tom Hanks, jaw down, eyes wide, the expression of a man who just heard something he did not want to hear in a room full of people he did not want to hear it in front of. That single camera cut is why we're here today, because that moment, that 4-second reaction, launched 6 years of questions that refused to go away. And now, with the Epstein files unlocked and 3.5 million pages flooding the internet, those questions are getting a lot louder. Here's something most people skipped over in the aftermath. Ricky explained himself. He gave an interview and said he thought Tom's reaction wasn't guilt, it was discomfort. A powerful man in a powerful room, suddenly confronted with something that powerful people don't get confronted with, the truth spoken out loud, with no protection in front of camera.
Who do I pander to? The 200 richest people in the room, or the 200 million people watching at home who aren't winning awards, who aren't millionaires?
The internet, of course, did not accept Ricky's explanation, because by 2022, the internet didn't need Ricky's explanation anymore. It had its own story, and that story had a name attached to it. If you want to understand where the serious accusations against Tom Hanks came from, not the meme, not the camera cut, but the actual he is a criminal level accusations, you need to know about Isaac Kappy. Kappy was an actor, small roles, Thor, Terminator Salvation, Breaking Bad, not a household name. By 2018, his career was stalling out, and in August of that year, he walked onto Alex Jones's InfoWars and did something almost nobody does. He named names on live television with no evidence, no documents, no paper trail of any kind. He looked into the camera and called Tom Hanks a pedophile. He named Steven Spielberg. He named Seth Green, and he threw the accusations out into the world and then walked away. QAnon picked him up instantly. He was saying everything they'd been claiming. He became their insider, their witness, their proof. Then, May 13th, 2019, Kappy died. He forced himself off a bridge in Arizona onto Interstate 40, Route 66. 2 teenagers tried to stop him. Authorities ruled it suicide. Mental health issues were documented. The conspiracy community ruled it murder. They said he was silenced. They said he knew too much. They said the powerful people he'd accused had him removed. And because his accusations had been specific, because he'd said Tom Hanks by name, Tom Hanks got pulled into the murder theory too. The internet had its villain, and it was never going to let go. Then, 1 month before Kappy died, April 4th, 2019, Tom Hanks posted a photo on Instagram, a plastic glove on the side of a road, Route 66 in the background. The caption, "Historic Route 66. Roadkill? I hope not." Hanks. 1 month later, Kappy dies on Route 66. You can already imagine what happened next. The theory went nuclear. Tom Hanks had predicted the death. Roadkill was a threat. It was a coded message. He ordered a hit. The Instagram post was confirmation. Here's the actual explanation. Tom Hanks has been photographing random lost objects for years. slippers, gloves, shoes, kids' toys abandoned on the pavement. It's a strange documented habit he's had for a long time, long before any of this, but the explanation didn't matter. The story was already set. The accusations were already embedded. Tom had to disable comments on his Instagram. His son Chad posted a furious video response. The harassment got so severe that even people who didn't believe the theory started wondering, why is this man drawing so much fire? That question never really got answered. January 2026. The Epstein files drop. 3.5 million pages. The moment millions of people had been waiting for, some for years. The moment that was supposed to confirm everything. Within hours, the posts went viral. Tom Hanks is in the documents. His name is all over it. He's finally been exposed. Screenshots everywhere. Highlighted names. Millions of shares. Fact checkers got to work. Deutsche Welle, one of Europe's most credible news organizations, looked into it properly. Their conclusion? The screenshots showing Tom's name were digitally manipulated. A Greek foreign minister referenced in multiple posts? That person doesn't exist. Mate claims that Tom's Greek citizenship was revoked because of Epstein connections. False. He's still a Greek citizen. Nothing was revoked. Nothing happened. The posts were fabricated, not misleading, not taken out of context, made up. Tom Hanks is not in the Epstein files, but here's what is in the files, and why it's more complicated than a simple, clean bill of health. There is a 2013 email from Epstein's publicist, a woman named Peggy Siegel, who prosecutors would later allege had offered to bring Epstein little boys or girls from trips. In that email, she mentions Tom Hanks socially. The context suggests they may have been in the same circles around that time. That is not evidence of a crime. It is not a criminal connection. It is a name appearing in a document connected to a network of people, and in the current climate, that is enough to keep a question alive.
If Tom Hanks is around, tell him his Walt Disney is a bit hip.
Now let's talk about what the files actually contain, because some of what's in there is real, documented, and impossible to dismiss. Leonardo DiCaprio's name appears multiple times. A June 2009 email from former UK Minister Peter Mandelson asks whether overseas corporations could seek DiCaprio's endorsement. A 2016 discussion references hosting a dinner and whether DiCaprio would attend. Epstein reportedly tried to organize a meeting between DiCaprio and Woody Allen, and while there's no evidence that meeting ever happened, the fact that Epstein was engineering that introduction is not nothing. DiCaprio has denied any personal connection to Epstein. His team says he never visited the island, never communicated with Epstein directly, but the files are still largely redacted. 70 to 80% of some documents remain blacked out. The absence of a name in what we can see is not a clean bill of health. It just means we haven't seen everything yet. Ricky Gervais has taken shots at Leonardo DiCaprio at almost every Golden Globes appearance. Not random shots. The same shot, the same angle. Every time. DiCaprio's documented pattern of dating women under 25. Clockwork. Year after year. The internet laughed. They made the memes. They counted the ages. But underneath the joke, people who'd been paying attention were asking a different question when Ricky keeps circling the same name, year after year, in a room where he's choosing every single word with surgical precision. Is it possible that joke isn't just a joke? The files don't answer that question definitively, because if Tom Hanks is the face of the conspiracy, Leonardo DiCaprio is the recurring punchline. Oprah Winfrey is the name that carries the most weight and the most devastating set of allegations. Survivors have reportedly come forward and used one specific word to describe Oprah's alleged role in Epstein's network. Broker. Not a passenger on a plane. Not someone who attended a party. Broker. Someone who allegedly played an active role in connecting young girls to wealthy, powerful men. These are allegations. They are not convictions. No charges have been filed. Oprah has not been named in any criminal proceeding. But here's why this particular allegation doesn't stay quiet.
Release the files, end the secrecy, and stand with us in declaring that no one, no billionaires, no politicians, not world leaders, is above the law.
Cast your mind back to John of God. His real name is João Teixeira de Faria, a Brazilian spiritual healer, a man Oprah Winfrey endorsed publicly on her platform in front of her audience of millions. She didn't just mention him, she championed him. She brought him to mainstream international attention when he might otherwise have remained a regional figure. He was later convicted of running a global trafficking operation, sentenced to nearly 400 years in prison. Oprah was not charged. Oprah was not implicated in his crimes, but she was the mechanism by which he gained the credibility that allowed him to operate at the level he eventually reached. And now, claims are circulating, unverified, but circulating that a document within the Epstein files contains a statement from a woman who says Epstein offered her money to have babies. And in that same document, a connection is allegedly drawn between John of God, Jeffrey Epstein, and Oprah Winfrey. If that connection is ever verified, verified, and right now it has not been, it would place Oprah at the center of two of the most devastating child trafficking cases of the modern era. She has gone quiet. The woman who spent 4 decades making sure the entire world could hear her voice, who built an empire on being present, visible, and vocal, has become very comfortable staying out of the public eye.
Oprah Winfrey, she had these allegations going on for years, you know what I'm saying? And it's just very, very hideous and traumatizing to know that a lot of these things are starting to come out to be true.
Numbers don't lie the way words can. Jay-Z and Beyoncé have reportedly shed around 10 million followers combined across their social media platforms. 10 million. That is not a bad week. That is not an algorithm glitch. That is not people deciding they need a digital detox. Not because people are irrational, but because too many things that were once called unverified have slowly, quietly been turned out to have legs. And 10 million people decided they weren't willing to wait and find out.
I know I'm late on this, but it's kind of crazy. What do you do to get thrown in that mix?
Here is the pattern. And once you see it, once you map it across multiple names, multiple timelines, multiple continents, it stops looking like coincidence. Richard Gere. His name appears in an email addressed to Jeffrey Epstein. He sold his massive Connecticut compound, a property a multimillionaire should have been able to hold indefinitely at a loss. A loss. He then relocated to Spain with his family. The timing, exactly 1 month before a major Epstein document release deadline. His team says he wanted to be closer to his wife's family, maybe, but multimillionaires do not panic sell dream homes unless they need to move fast. A 2009 email references her at a party in St. Bart's. Her old talk show material was apparently collected and sent to Epstein. And the woman who built an empire on being America's sweetheart, the woman whose entire brand was warmth, accessibility, and wholesome daytime television, has chosen this specific moment in history to make herself unavailable on American soil.
A lot of people saying that someone who seems so nice is not nice at all.
She doesn't seem nice, but that people have a very poor judge of character. She doesn't seem nice. It seems forced.
Rosie O'Donnell moved to Ireland and made a statement that no one planning a vacation ever makes. I will never return to the United States, ever. You don't say that unless something is chasing you. Not politics, not preference, not lifestyle. When someone says never with that much certainty, they mean it. And Rosie has been a Hollywood insider for decades. She's been to the rooms. She knows the people. The question has to be asked, does she know what's in those files? Ryan Gosling and Eva Mendes are reportedly looking at property in London. They haven't left yet. But the fact that they're even looking at this specific moment, in this specific climate, tells you something. Maybe they're the smart ones, watching the walls close in and deciding to get ahead of it. Here's the thing about this pattern. One celebrity selling a home is a real estate transaction. 2 celebrities relocating to Europe is a lifestyle trend. 3 celebrities going quiet simultaneously is a coincidence. But when you map it, when you put the names side by side and look at what they all share, look at the timing, look at the destinations, now look at which countries have and don't have extradition treaties. What you're looking at is not a series of unrelated personal decisions. You're watching a coordinated response to a threat. This is what people do when they know something bad is coming. They move assets, they move themselves, they go silent and hope the news cycle moves on before anyone asks them the question directly. Go back to 2012. Ricky stands on the Golden Globe stage and tells a room full of entertainment executives that they are all terrified of one journalist, Ronan Farrow. At the time, people laughed. Ronan Farrow was known, but not yet the figure he would become. The joke landed as industry self-deprecation, a bit of edge, nothing more. Then Ronan Farrow broke Harvey Weinstein, and suddenly the joke from 2012 wasn't a joke. It was a warning, delivered to the exact people who needed to hear it, in a room where they couldn't do anything about it, in a format they couldn't cancel or suppress.
In this room are some of the most important TV and film executives in the world, people from every background, but they all have one thing in common. They're all terrified of Ronan Farrow.
That is the through line of everything we've covered tonight. Ricky Gervais did not have a source. He did not have documents. The files he joked about are now real and unlocked. The names he circled are now the names the internet won't stop circling. You can call that coincidence, or you can call it what Ricky called it years ago, on live television, in front of all of them. The truth, dressed up as a punchline, so nobody could stop him from telling it.
I was doing it for them, you know, and I didn't want to. It wasn't set out to hurt their feelings, but it was. If you're going to make it a spectator sport, then you better have something
Then, quietly, if you've been watching Hollywood your entire life, if you grew up believing the names, the charities, the speeches, the carefully crafted personas tonight was a lot to sit with, you don't have to have all the answers. You just have to keep asking the questions. Because Ricky was asking them years ago, and now you know exactly which ones he was asking. Drop in the comments which name hit you the hardest tonight. And if you know someone who's still treating the 2020 Golden Globes as just an awkward TV moment, send them this. Like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.